Welcome to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show, where you get advice you can trust. From home selling tips to investing, this is the talk show that will help you make the most money when selling your most valuable asset and save the most money when buying. Now here are your hosts, Dave McKay, along with Wally Kerr, broker and founder of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty in Oklahoma City.
Well, welcome. This is the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show, as always brought to you by Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage and also by Best Protect Roofing and Construction. Joining me, as always, Wally and Cindy Kerr. How are we doing on this?
Good morning, my friend.
Yeah, it's a decent Saturday. A little warmer during the week, but not too bad. You can tell that we're starting to turn a corner. It's going to be spring before we know it.
Now, we're going to talk about the spring today, aren't we, Cindy?
That's right.
Several things, including kind of a subject. It's something that will surprise you about something you see every single day around you, and you've really noticed them recently, and some surprising facts about them. So that's a teaser.
All
so
right.
stay tuned. That'll be right after our break today. We're going to talk about what to do when the empty nest isn't empty. We're talking about your house, and there's a lot of you that know exactly what I'm talking about. Somebody's still living at home maybe with you. Also going to talk about 8 signs that you could look at when you're a home buyer to indicate that maybe a home that was flipped is poorly remodeled.
Oh.
And so some telltale signs to help buyers out. You know, you don't just want to look at the aesthetics. There's a lot of other things, whether it's electrical or plumbing or windows, and we're going to talk about some of those things today.
Okay.
We'll have a market update. So the market has been moving around again. I've never seen a time in our history where the market everybody's been paying so much attention. And there was an announcement on some data this week, and it made a little bit of difference. But there's also some good news there. So we'll talk to Chris Doke today. Dave, Cindy is going to hop in today with her best tips and advice for selling for top dollar, right, Cindy?
That's right.
You got a pretty decent sized list, and I think you're going to share a few of those, right?
I am.
Fun-filled show, Dave, and we'll move quickly today.
Awesome. That's all coming up over the next hour. Stick around. And, of course, if you want to listen to the show again, like you're tuning in right now, you're kind of like doing the dishes, you're vacuuming, you're driving, and you're thinking like, I really want to tune in and listen to it. Well, you can go to wallytalkshouses.com, get all of the past shows, and they're real easy to find, real easy to search, and they're all over the different podcast networks as well, social media. So sit back, enjoy it, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
To schedule an appointment with Wally Kerr to help you or a family member buy or sell a home, call or text at 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Wally will be right back with more of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show right here on KOKC.
So you thought interest rates were going to go down? Hey, me too. It's Wally Kerr, and despite today's interest rates, the market's already picking up. Why sell your home without a safety net? It's like walking a high wire at the circus. There's just too much at stake. Call me to get your written guarantee that I'll sell your home in an agreed period or buy it myself at a price you and I agree to up front. Ask for Wally when you call us today at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000. 330-3000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful. From knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233. Equal housing lender.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
You know, guys, I love this time of the year. I love spring. I know you guys do too, because it is about to get crazy in the housing market.
It's always busier in the springtime with home sales, and that should happen here in a couple of weekends as soon as spring break is over.
Yes.
We've got an early Easter this year, don't we? and that may tone sales down and activity a little bit.
Okay.
But we've got a big weekend here after spring break where I think it will be busy. But, Dave, what I've been noticing, you've noticed all these Bradford pear trees in bloom all around, right?
Yes.
I mean, they are gorgeous. They're very, very pretty. And then redbuds also. We've got 2 redbud trees on our property.
Okay.
That certainly reminds you that spring is here. But Cindy read in fact, I guess she saw it on News Channel 4 about Bradford pear trees. And something that I didn't know. Cindy, share some of what you heard. It surprised me, and I think it will you too, Dave.
You know, you don't think of Bradford pears as nuisance trees. I always just love them, but apparently they're just so invasive. They spread their seeds so prolifically that we have a big field south of our Edmond office, and there are just wild Bradfords everywhere.
There must be in that. So this would be if you're driving and you want to go see those today, just north of 33rd, which is 150th Street in Edmond. Our office is just north of that, about 8 blocks. But there's this huge field that is open that's undeveloped, just south of the church, and this is on the east side of Pennsylvania. Unbelievable. You look over there, and it's just this enormous grove of trees that sits a few hundred feet off the street. And the number of Bradford pears that were blooming there must have been 300 or 400 or 500.
Oh, wow.
All blooming at the same time. I had never noticed how many were there.
You know what, though? They are not planted, and those are considered invasive. And did you know that in some states they've outlawed the planting of Bradford pears because they're so invasive? Yes.
Wow.
And they've thought about that in Oklahoma. Some people say they have an offensive odor like rotting fish. Have you ever stood next to one and smelled it?
I guess not, because I think I would have remembered that.
Well, and they said either shrimp, which I love shrimp. Maybe I need to plant one of those, several more in my front yard.
Or a shrimp tree.
They said they can actually hurt birds and insects. Is that right? Now, we all know they blow over real easily because of the makeup of the tree, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
they're
right.
so
They
dense.
have one central trunk, and then all the branches emanate from that. So they're super weak. It's just kind of interesting. I do think they're pretty, but in some states, they're outlawed, and they are considered nuisance trees.
They're growing so fast and replicating. And I asked Cindy before we did the show today, I said, what's the problem with that? They're pretty trees. Why not let them go everywhere? And she said, well, they're taking up the groundwater, and they're choking out other native trees that would be native, for instance, to here in Oklahoma.
And that might be more wind resistant.
Right. That's the big one, I guess, here is we get those straight lines, 70, 80 mile per hour winds, 90 miles per hour, and those trees are so dense, of course. Most of you have seen neighbors' trees that have blown over that were Bradfords.
That's right.
But really interesting article.
So with some of those storms and those Bradford pears blowing over, I imagine a lot of birds there's empty nests now. They got to find some nests to live in.
Yeah, that's sad to think that even maybe baby birds could be sitting inside those nests.
Yes. So speaking of empty nests or people that would like to be empty nesters but are not yet because
Okay, good
of
transition,
circumstances.
Dave. I like it. You know, this segment today is called, what to do when the empty nest at your home isn't empty. So inflation over the past year is now at about 3.2%. It's far less than it was in 2021, but it's still high enough for the Federal Reserve, you and I know, to keep the interest rates elevated right now, right? So unlike the inflation we saw soon after the onset of the COVID pandemic, the more recent bout was overwhelmingly driven by the rising cost of what the Consumer Price Index classifies as shelter, and that's rent and homes. And so, Dave, under 35 years old, home ownership rates are roughly half of those of people that are retirement age and are likely to suffer from rising housing costs while also missing out on the resulting wealth boom. So retirees have this rising housing wealth and protection from inflation and are more likely to fare better. But do you know that 52% of young adults ages 18 to 29 resided with one or both of their parents in a recent survey?
Over half, so not such an empty nest after all.
So many of those young adults who moved back home did so intentionally so that they could shore up their debts and finally buy a property or buy a house and also take care of other financial goals. But many of these young adults under 30 never actually left the nest. And that's our topic today is, what do you do if you maybe you planned to be an empty nester. For instance, we have a son living with us right now. He was out on his own for a while, and our son, Colin, is about to turn 27 years old. He's got his own independent living quarters at our place. He's trying to get where he wants to be financially, get his debts taken care of.
Like 50% of people,
Yes,
looks like. Just
exactly.
about.
It's
No
not
different.
uncommon.
Absolutely. So, how can you help your own kids if you are one of these people that thought you were an empty nester, and maybe either the kid you thought you would be and the kids would move out?
Sure.
Or they moved out and they came back. What are their options? Because there are options available. It depends on probably how much money you've got and how much you're willing to do for the kids, right, Cindy?
That's right.
So let's talk about a few of these. Just real quickly is, how do you help your kids get out of the nest and into home ownership? Well, if you own a rental property, you could just let them move in, right?
Sure.
But then there probably needs to be a written agreement, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Number one is, if they move in and you own it and they know that you don't have a payment on it, how long are they going to live there? Is this going to be free rent forever? Are you planning on giving them the home one day? Do you want them to live there 2 or 3 years and hope that they get their financial future taken care of so that they can support themselves? And so it's a big topic because lots of people own a rental property that they've bought, and having the kids move back in, will they take the care of it?
You hope
that
so.
you would expect them to? What kind of pets are they going to have? How many children do they plan to have in the future? If they got married, maybe that's something you would stipulate in an agreement with the kids. If you get married, you have to go find your own place.
And as a rental, you may be expensing things that you do, repairs on the property. If your kids move in for free, you're not going to be able to show those as an expense. So it may be that you want to ask them to pay some maybe reduced rent so that you can go ahead and show the expenses that are going to come up. Also, what expenses are they going to take care of? It may be that when minor repairs come up, they're going to pay for those. If you have to have major plumbing repairs, it might be that you're going to do it, but you want to expense it, so you need to offset that with rent they pay.
I would think that it's a very similar situation if they are in a property that you own or they're in your home. One is just, it's an extension or they're with you, and you can set up the same agreement where a reduced rent, if they're paying rent for their room or they're paying rent for a property you have, and you can give them a bargain because they are saving up other things, maybe paying off other debts, but that helps them kind of get in the mode of, I have these other responsibilities. I need to maybe pay for my phone bill and electricity and water, but I'm not having to pay this huge amount that's holding me down like a rent or a house payment just because my parents or whoever is able to kind of help me out with that. And I could see that as really a good starting point to get them on the path to kind of, I guess you would say, financial freedom.
Yeah, that's what we're doing with Colin, with our son, is helping him get into a place where he can manage his money right. He was gone for a few years and moved out early and came back. And so we're helping him understand what it's going to take to have financial freedom. Now, one of the options for us, if we didn't want to put him into a rental, is we could co-borrow with him, right?
Sure.
I mean, we could go buy a home with him and be
Yes.
responsible for part of that payment. And the question is, do you need to get something in writing for this young adult that's living with you at home to say, I'm going to co-borrow? And then you've got a certain amount of control, because if you co-borrowed, maybe the agreement says you got 5 years to get your finances in place so that you can buy it. But if you don't get that done, I'm going to buy it from you and I'll own it as a rental property. So co-borrowing might be a good option, right? Another one could just be giving them a gift for down payment. And we've talked about that on the show,
Yes,
right, Dave?
yes.
Chris Doke has told us all about the people that can gift you money.
It could be relatives, it could be friends, it could be people on Facebook.
That's surprising.
That was really
Yes.
surprising, wasn't it? You could also buy a house and gift it to them, but Cindy and I would recommend that you talk to a financial planner or advisor if you were just going to buy one and then give them a house. There could be an implication of perhaps taxation.
That's right. A tax attorney and a state attorney would really be advisable at this point. And if we have one listening, we would love it if you would call or text us at 330-3000. We would love to visit with you and perhaps feature you on the show next time.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea to have. We haven't had a financial advisor, wealth manager on with us.
Sure,
and that'd be great to have someone. And also, if you're a realtor here in the metro and you listen to our show, we need to hire 2 agents and bring them onto our team. We're looking for somebody with some experience. You need to have sold a few homes and understand how Oklahoma purchase contracts work and knowledge about relationships with buyers and sellers. Looking for 2 experienced realtors to join our team immediately. And you can call me confidentially at 412-7360. I'd love to visit with you.
Well, there's some competition because I've been doing this show a little over a year, and I might just be the next person in line to work for Kerr team. All right, stick around. We'll be back. We're going to talk about Wally's Weekly Wisdom. Watch for swarming termites. I do not like the sound of that, but I know it's going to be educational and something that's going to help us out. Absolutely. That's coming up next.
To schedule an appointment with Wally Kerr to help you or a family member buy or sell a home, call or text at 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Wally will be right back with more of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show right here on KOKC.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
What's best for you when selling your home? Full market value typically comes from listing your home so that more buyers can find it. Or you can sell to an investor for less. You can actually get either one at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. We'll agree to sell your home guaranteed at a price agreeable to you, or we'll buy it ourselves. And if you need a quick sale, we'll get you multiple offers from investors who can close in 2 weeks or less. Explore your options today. Call us at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000. 330-3000.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Okay, it's time for Wally's Weekly Wisdom. You know, I do love the spring, but there is a couple of things that I just do not like, and it's bugs, especially when you get all the bugs at night around the doors because the lights are on. Those are the little beetles and stuff like that. But there's a lot more bugs that are a lot more harmful to the home, especially termites. Let's talk about those. What do you have for us with Wally's Weekly Wisdom this week?
I haven't had any calls from customers yet, but I know it's going to happen here in the next couple of weeks, and that's because it got so warm so fast. So every March, when it gets warm, termites begin to swarm. So if you see some little bitty bugs flying around inside your house, now termites are subterranean, but they do swarm during the springtime. Okay. That's why you don't see them in the summer or the fall. So if you've got some bugs inside your home and some little dead bugs, they will come out, but then they will die based on the light. Okay. They may be laying in windowsills inside your home. You may have termites, and they may have been in the walls of your home for a long time. Cindy, I remember when we lived in our house 20 years ago, that walked up in the entryway of the home, and in that big transom window above the front door, I pointed, and you said, "What is that?" And it was a big clod of dirt that looked almost like dirt daubers had built a nest inside the property. And it was evidence of termites. Those workers had worked their way, of course, up inside the wall. You remember that now, don't you?
Yes.
And then you may remember we had the house treated by Tony, with pest arrest. And then the termites came back again about 15 months later, and we had signs again. So if you're looking inside your home and you don't see the bugs yet, but you are curious, you can look up for exit holes up on the wall, which looks like you put a thumbtack into the wall, but then a little piece of dirt is surrounding where like a thumbtack hole would be, and that's called an exit hole. That's where the workers go up inside. They're trying to eat the back of the drywall, which a termite man told me once. The paper behind the back of the drywall is processed wood. And termites absolutely love processed wood. It's easy for them to eat. Now, termites can be in a home for years and years without doing a whole lot of damage, but you certainly want to get them taken care of.
Yes.
And so, they can do damage. You need to get an inspection. If you haven't had an inspection in a while, you'll be surprised how many termite companies would probably be happy to come out and maybe even do a free inspection for you. They're probably going to find termites in maybe 1 out of 5 homes. In Oklahoma, we joke in real estate, it's not a matter of do you have termites, it's a matter of when you'll have termites, because most homes sooner or later get them, right, Cindy?
That's right, especially if you have wood up against your home. If you've had your home not just spot treated, but a full home treatment, a full barrier treatment, you can actually get a maintenance program where you pay once a year to that company that treated your home. Okay. They'll come out and look at it, and then if they find termites, they will treat it at no cost. You just pay for a service fee every year.
Walk out and look around the outside of your home. Most homes that have been built in the last 20 or 30 years, most of them don't have wood touching the ground. But wood materials that are touching the ground, or if you have drainage problems around your home, termites are attracted to moisture. Couple of the factors that can lead to getting termites, but if you see swarming bugs that you normally don't see, this would be a swarm of a lot of bugs, and normally they'd be inside your home, but they can be outside too.
I have so many things going around in my head right now that I'm worried about. Like, if you start to see them, it's like, how many more are in your home? And at what point, when you actually do see them, how much damage has been done on the inside? And if there is a lot of damage, how do you fix that? I think I know how you fix it. I don't think I want to know
the cost.
How you fix, I don't want to hear the story. I mean, are you pulling out drywall and everything? I mean, how extensive if you have bad damage?
If they've been there 3 or 4 years and haven't been treated, it could require some structural changes, maybe some 2x4s changed out inside a wall. You probably would know if you have termites, but it is a good idea to get an inspection. So look for those bugs. It's March. It's warm outside. This is the time of year they swarm, and you want to get them treated if there's a chance you've got them.
Okay, we're going to talk about things that you can detect about maybe a poorly remodeled home. And it's basically if someone did a little remodeling, or more specifically, if someone flipped the home and maybe did it on the cheap, you're going to be able to see that, it should have been done a little bit better. Is that right?
Yeah, flip homes, a lot of people making money on flip homes, and they can be very profitable, but they can also be done very poorly.
Okay.
I've seen some properties that have been done great and some that were not so great, right, Cindy?
That's right.
So why are they so prevalent? A lot of flippers in the market today, but a lot of wholesalers. And wholesalers are sending out mailers. They're calling you. They're sending out these cards that show them sitting with their dog. Look what a nice person I am. Would you sell me your home today?
I've received text messages.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're trying to get someone to sell them a home cheap, but they don't actually want to buy it with wholesalers. They go sign a contract with the owner that says, I now have the right to go and assign this contract to someone else. So maybe the wholesaler agrees to a price of $215 with you. They go call someone like me and say, hey, Wally, would you give $218 for that home?
Okay, I see.
And so
now.
I go close on the property, which we don't do this. Okay, we don't do this, but this is how it works. So now the wholesaler never even owns the home and makes $3,000. And normally sells the homes to flippers who go in and remodel the property. So let's talk about what can look good and the risks of buying and the things that you ought to be looking for. I do have some friends who bought a home. Someone flipped it. Looked really, really beautiful on the inside. It was here in Oklahoma City off of May Avenue, North May Avenue, in a beautiful area.
So you're excited.
Great location.
She loved all the finishes, the plumbing fixtures, the frameless showers, this open kitchen. Everything looked great. I guess the flipper didn't own that home but about 6 months. And unfortunately, that lot had really bad drainage problems. So the first real heavy rain after they owned the home, they found water seeping into the front bedrooms.
Oh, no.
And it was because the lot drainage was poor. We went back and looked at the seller's disclosure statement, and they had not disclosed anything about poor drainage. And when we asked them about it, they said, well, we only owned the home 6 months. We didn't know that there were drainage problems. The home inspector that looked at it did say it looks like it could use some gutters on the front of the property to improve drainage, but that the flower beds might need to be lowered in the front because they were pretty high. And sure enough, those flower beds were holding water. This first heavy rain comes through and the water's coming in. So it
And that was exactly what they had to do, right? They had to go in and change those flower beds.
Yeah, they did. I think they spent $8,000 or $10,000 on drainage, but it could be more than that.
Yeah.
What if it's an older home in Mesta Park, Crown Heights? Maybe it's just an older home in Midtown area. You go in, it's beautiful on the inside, but what about that plumbing underneath the home? What about the electrical? Is there aluminum wiring? Is there knob and tube still up in the attic?
Yes.
Is there a Federal Pacific breaker panel? Those can be expensive, right, Cindy?
What are we seeing those costing to change
Now,
out
Federal
now?
Pacific panels were breaker panels that were manufactured, and apparently the panel could overheat before the breakers actually flipped. And those are, anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 to replace.
So
That's about the first thing that Wally looks at when we go in to buy a home on our guaranteed sale program. That's one thing you go right to.
And if you're flipping a home and that's a $2,000 or $3,000 expense, a lot of flippers don't want to change that out. It's sort of like windows. Tearing those old windows out and putting in new energy efficient windows, even getting those to fit in some of those older
that
homes.
could be a huge expense.
Huge expense.
And it could be more current windows, but they're fogged up. They're dual pane windows, and you see fog on the inside. And I think a lot of people don't realize the cost to change those out. But once you see that fog, then the fact that they were energy efficient is no longer the same, because the fog indicates that inert gas between the two panes is no longer there, and it's not providing the energy efficiency.
So a quick question. If I'm a buyer and I'm looking at a home, do I need to ask how long have they owned the home? Is that a question to ask? Like if the home was flipped, and do I now need to start thinking about other things, like when I'm having the home inspection, do I need to say, hey, go check out all of the electrical, go check out all of the plumbing, which some of the plumbing you can't get to, but
right. And what I want to point out, too, is you're going to get a home inspection anyway, but I hate to see you waste your money. You hate to go buy a home where the kitchen's been painted white, you look online, it looks great, you show up and it wasn't a great paint job, then you start looking through all of the home, all of the cabinetry, the walls. How would you like to move in? It's already been painted, and you go back and have to paint it again because there's drip marks, or it wasn't smooth, or it's not a shiny finish on the kitchen or bathroom cabinets.
That's right. And, as you look at this before your home inspection, you may decide against it because you see a lot of exposed wiring in the garage. There's just wires hanging down with wire nuts that's not properly secured in a junction box. So you want to look at those things. You want to look at water stains. Have there been signs of a leak? You want to look at uneven floors. You walk across a home and all of a sudden that floor is kind of rippled. And cheap materials, low quality appliances, low quality flooring. Those are all things you want to look at, including improperly installed cabinets and drawers. They don't open and close right.
So what I'm hearing is if I go into a home that's been remodeled, for the most part, a lot of it looks like a brand new home because you're remodeling. So if I see something that looks like a brand new home, as it should, but then I'm experiencing areas where it looks like this wasn't even touched, then you're like, okay, they spent a little bit of money to try to spruce this up a little bit, but what did they really enhance in the home, and what did they really remodel? So I'm noticing like a new home that has parts of it that looks old, that doesn't make sense.
And you might look under the kitchen sink.
Yes.
The cabinets may look great in the kitchen because they're painted white and there's granite, but you look under the sink and it's just a snag of plumbing and it looks terrible.
So Cindy, really good point with like when you're looking under at the plumbing. I think I've seen where if they need to put in new plumbing for a new dishwasher or new plumbing for a new tub or something like that, and you could see where they didn't really plumb it the way it should be. It just kind of went around some 2x4s. Or sometimes if they have a drainage pipe and they'll cut out part of the 2x4, which I think a 2x4 is there for a reason.
Structural,
and they cut it out so they could just kind of stick that pipe through it, or they have the pipe going all these different corners to try to get it around stuff. And it's
It just looks like a
Yeah, it was a little sloppy, and they didn't do it really the way it should be done. Well, they were trying to save some money and get it done quickly.
And you can do this. Wally's point is well taken. You're going to have an inspector who's going to look deeply if you decide to contract for the home. But that's going to cost money. You can go through the home first and hit a lot of these things and decide if you even want to pursue a purchase contract.
And you have to pay for an appraisal, too, up front. And you can't delay that appraisal according to the Oklahoma purchase contract. So, Dave, you could be $1,000 into a home paying for an appraisal and home inspections and then decide it was poorly done. Watch for those telltale signs and really look carefully. Look underneath cabinetry. Look at how the finishes were done. Roof shingles, make sure you know the age before you get under contract. The electrical, the plumbing. Yeah, get a good home inspector. We've got a list of great inspectors that we highly recommend. But watch out for those flip homes, especially like you asked about, Dave, is if they haven't owned it very long, the flip home, the guy flipping the home, the lady flipping the home may just come back and say, well, I didn't have any problems while I owned it, but there may be problems that exist, and so home inspections are going to be really crucial.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk with our friend Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage, get a little market update coming up next.
To schedule an appointment with Wally Kerr to help you or a family member buy or sell a home, call or text at 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Wally will be right back with more of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show right here on KOKC.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful. From knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758, Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
So you thought interest rates were going to go down? Hey, me too. It's Wally Kerr, and despite today's interest rates, the market's already picking up. Why sell your home without a safety net? It's like walking a high wire at the circus. There's just too much at stake. Call me to get your written guarantee that I'll sell your home in an agreed period or buy it myself at a price you and I agree to up front. Ask for Wally when you call us today at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000. 330-3000.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Well, Wally, rates didn't change much even with yesterday's news, but let's bring on an expert and talk about the latest mortgage rates and the market update. It's Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage. Chris, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave.
Yeah, there was some data that came out yesterday morning, but the good news is, Chris, I'm hearing from you that you've got some rates, depending on the borrower and their abilities. You've got some rates that are well below 7%, but you've also got some down payment assistance to talk about today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen some scenarios, like you said, in the last week or so that's been definitely under sevens. And
that's encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think all scenarios are different, but there's definitely some of that out there. And there is a new down payment assistance program that we're working on, and just provide some affordability is kind of the key term we've been talking about, right, Wally?
It is. It is. People have never been so focused on rates in any time in my career. It's just like daily people are watching. And I know that even a quarter of a point difference in the interest rate, say from 7 to 6 3/4 is a big deal today, isn't it?
It is a lot. And I think mentally it's a lot too, right? I think just hearing the difference between 6s and 7s, I do think mentally it keeps buyers going a little bit. But
everybody's been asking for so long, when are they coming down? When are they coming down? And so just some good news is what people need and want right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they definitely have stabilized, right? Like, I think we haven't seen large increases in quite a bit, and I think we're stabilized, and I think we're heading down over this next 6 months, and hopefully we'll be in a great position that way as we continue to see that.
It's so interesting that it's always been you're looking at a certain price point or a little range when you're looking at a home, and that is true. But the very first thing that people think of is like, well, okay, are the interest rates okay now that I can jump into home ownership? Yeah. Not even thinking about the fact of what they can really afford, which that's going to work itself out. But even before thinking about that and going to look, it's like, what are the interest rates right now? It's intriguing that Wally was telling me that, and you just mentioned, there is some new buyer assistance programs that maybe can get a little extra cash to help put into a home. Can you tell me more about that right now?
Yeah, we're working on a program that we've rolled out and are part of that provides some really, really good assistance for those that qualify. And there's different requirements for that, right? There's some income. You have to make under a certain amount of income, and some have to be first-time home buyers. Sometimes you don't. The point is that you can, in this program, you can potentially get up to $15,000 of help from a down payment perspective and a closing cost perspective. Now, Wally, you'll appreciate this or remember this. This is actually one of those grants that it does run out on a monthly basis. There's only so much money each month. Sometimes you got to have closing that next month so you can make sure to get the money. But it's a great opportunity for buyers.
Yeah, we had to help our buyers fight. I remember Oklahoma Housing, OHFA bond money, and it would run out each month. And so or they would have an issue with only a certain amount of money. So it does sound like there's a deadline on this. And if someone is interested in that $15,000 for down payment and or closing cost assistance, can they call you about that? We may have some listeners who have kids or grandkids that are either going to get in the market soon or this year. And if this is going to go away and this is just not going to be here to stay, probably better jump on that pretty quick. Tell our listeners how they can contact you, Chris, to find out more.
Absolutely. They can reach out to me at 405-253-2276, 405-253-2276. We'd love to walk them through what's available for them.
If I'm a first-time home buyer or I have some special circumstances where I can get in for a little bit less, can this new program be combined with that, or is it going to preclude me from using other circumstances?
Yeah, good question. I think this is the one you'd want to use first, Dave. And so one grant or one bond money would be used per transaction.
That's a lot of assistance at $15,000. That's going to cover it all. And Chris, I know that a lot of buyers also are shopping on the weekends. They're out shopping on Saturdays and Sundays, and they may find that home they want, and they might want to grab onto that program. So you've got weekend warriors, which is what you call them, available on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays between noon and 4. I do too. It's a really, really good term he came up with. But these people are really helpful on your team on the weekends. And so you guys are available when buyers are out shopping. Our show is here on Saturdays and Sundays. And so they can call your office and get a pre-approval letter if they need one, right?
We worked on it this weekend, Wally. We had a buyer that had their interest peaked and worked on them, got them pre-qualified, and they're out making an offer now. So absolutely we can assist the community in that way.
So I can tell a coworker Friday afternoon that, we're interested to go look at a couple of homes. And then I can come in Monday morning, we bought one. We're done. And I just called Chris Doke Sunday afternoon. He got off the lake real quick, went to the office, and or one of his weekend warriors got me all set up. You could do that on the weekend. And you know what? I don't want to spring that into my work week and try to peel off hours while I'm supposed to be working. Now I'm worried about trying to over the lunch hour. Now I got to call Chris or somebody about lining up my mortgage rates, and it goes into a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and then you think, I'll worry about that next weekend. Next Saturday rolls around, and maybe that house is gone, or especially this program he talked about is gone. Yeah. On a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, I can call the weekend warriors and get it done right then almost.
Right. Competition is going to be increasing. If you're thinking about buying a home, get out there, get into the marketplace. There's limited inventory. There's some good programs available. Interest rates have stabilized. It looks like they're going to stay pretty close to where they are right now for at least an extended period. It's time to get into the marketplace if you're serious about buying this year.
Chris, thanks so much again for joining us. A wealth of knowledge. I don't know if you really are a boater, but the idea of you coming off the lake to help me out with a mortgage rate sounds fantastic. But thanks again for joining us today.
I'll take the boat on the weekend. You guys go ahead and work on some stuff, and I'll take the boat out today. How's that, Chris?
That sounds great.
Have a great week, buddy.
Y'all too.
Hey, Wally, you had mentioned you had a couple of open houses coming up this weekend.
Kelly Duran on our team. Just love Kelly. What a great lady. She's going to be in Midwest City at a young home that is less than about 10 years old.
Okay.
And it's a great price point. We were just talking about affordable homes for home buyers who are fighting that affordability. You know, what's nice is newer homes are cheaper to insure. The insurance is just cheaper. So she'll be in Midwest City at 933 Clare Lane. That's spelled Klare.
Oh, okay.
This is a home that's 1,500 feet, under $225,000, and in excellent condition. So go see Kelly 2 to 4 on Sunday. And then I will also be at 1200 Southern Hills in Norman, and that is just south of the OU campus. We've talked about this home a couple of times. It's got a brand new paint job on the inside, nice and bright and pretty, 2 acres, backs up to a golf course, hot tub, pool. Yes, it's got the foot golf that we've talked about before that you like.
That's
and it
cool.
backs up to a challenging 9-hole par 3 golf course. This is 1200 Southern Hills Circle. It's $950,000 and about 5,200 square feet. Both of those homes open Sunday from 2 to 4.
Well, Wally and Cindy, I don't have the best voice, but I want to sing a song for you. I want money, lots and lots of money. So if I'm going to sell my home, I want it for top dollar. I want as much cash as I can get out of it because I'm going to go put that into my next home over here or pay off some stuff or whatever. So how do I sell for top dollar? Now, I think Cindy has got some tips for us.
That's right. I've got actually 17 tips. I'm only going to go over 5 of them today, but I'd encourage our listeners, if you would like my full list of 17 tips, just go ahead and text or call us at 330-3000. Let me start with the top 5. One of them is arranging furniture into zones. Pull it off the walls. You probably live with your couch up against the wall.
Yes.
And it faces the TV.
Yes.
And it looks very lived in. But now you want to arrange that living room so that there's some traffic patterns for people to walk around. Get the furniture off the walls, and it doesn't necessarily have to face the TV. You want to give every room a focal point. Try not to leave rooms vacant, but just a few pieces of furniture can create a warm and a personal space and an identity for that room. And as I said, don't worry about practicality. You're staging the home. You're not watching TV. Take all those remotes off that end table. Take all those magazines off the table. One nice coffee table book. Pull out some of the furniture. It can look cluttered in a picture. You just want a few things. Accessories matter. You want to have possibly a nice piece of artwork, your coffee table book, and clean your counters. Remove accessories like knife blocks and coffee machines. Take everything off the front, side, and top of your refrigerator. And in the bathroom, you want to put your toiletries, your razors, your toothbrushes, your bottles in a little box and put them under your counter. So you do use those every day. You can get them out when you use them, put them under the vanity so you have a nice, clean look. You want to make sure it looks like a model home. Remember, people might be going through model homes, and then they don't want to come in your house and see a lot of personal items.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking like a show home.
That's exactly
because everything is like really nice and attentive to detail, and it just looks like, oh, it's clean, it's new. Oh, I want to live in here.
That's right. And, you know, we've talked about trophies. Wally, talk about that a little.
Well, this is a tough one. I've been in a lot of homes over the years where you go in and there are animal trophies on the wall.
Okay.
Maybe there's a fish story, you know, with a mounted fish.
Yes.
And look, I'm very proud of my accomplishments in life, and it's always been hard to address that subject with hunters. But the truth is, if you've got a moose up on the wall and somebody walks in to see the home, what's the first thing you see in the living room if there's a trophy on the wall?
That's it.
And I've actually had some women almost startled and say, oh, I don't like that. And so The question is, do you want to sell your home or do you want to exhibit your trophies? So it's a difficult conversation to have.
That's right. And we had one home listed. He had hunted all over the world, including in Africa. And he had a living area with exotic trophy mounts all over the walls. You know, what do you do with those? You may take them down and you may put them in storage, but they ended up donating them to a museum, and then they repainted the walls, and that looked great.
So, Wally, we need to get our wives and any photos of our wives out of the house so there are no trophies.
That will get you moved out of the house really fast, Dave, and you might find yourself living somewhere else if you're just removing your wife's pictures. Maybe it's better that you and I remove our pictures.
And you had some trophies of a sport that you used to like, Wally.
Well, I used to bowl. I was a pretty good bowler. In fact, one year I carried a 210 average over about 115 games, so I was a good bowler. I had some trophies. There were
some bowling trophies.
There are several different types of trophies. You may have listened once before and heard me say I had a pinball machine when I met Cindy. I was in my 30s. I had a stoplight in my living room. I had a Coke machine. And I think there might have been a couple bowling trophies sitting around, weren't they?
Those got removed when we sold that house.
Whether it's bowling trophies, fish trophies, or animal trophies, think about what people are looking at when they look at your home. Like Cindy said, they may be looking at new construction.
Yes.
So I review every feedback report for the sellers of properties that we have listed for sale. As the broker and the owner, I look at every feedback report.
You don't want distractions.
That's
and those are distractions.
Well, and I wanted to mention that I even see feedback that says the buyer decided to buy a new home instead. So I think Cindy's tips are really important here. If people are looking at maybe a new home because inventory is limited, I know you can't make your home new or look brand new, but take her advice to heart and definitely text us for these other tips that are on your list that you didn't have time for today, right, Cindy?
That's exactly right. And we'll also, at no charge, no obligation, if you want us to come out and look at your house, pre-marketing, give you some ideas. Sometimes it doesn't cost anything to just move some furniture out, put it in storage, move some things around, make it look appealing both in pictures and in person.
We're happy to do a consultation. Give us a text if you want Cindy's other items on the list. We can mail that to you or even text some ideas to you. 330-3000. Call us for a consultation. Text for Cindy's list. We're happy to come out. It's not a requirement that you list your home just because you're calling us. Of course, we'd love to earn your business. We've got a fantastic sales team and just state-of-the-art technology and marketing, along with our marketing staff. We'd love to help you and assist you or your friend or your neighbor or a family member in buying a selling home this spring or this year, if that's what your plans are looking like.
I think I like the idea when you're going to look at homes, a resale home versus a new home. Sometimes you feel like you can get more for the money out of that resale home than going to buy a brand new one. So as the seller, if you can pull off the appeal of it looks like a brand new home, then the buyers coming to look for that home are going to be really enticed to maybe stick with purchasing your home over having to go buy a new one because it has that new home feel already with basically the tips you just talked about. So fantastic tips.
And you're talking about new homes. We can help you or your friend or family member negotiate potentially a better bargain and a deal with a builder. You know, we used to joke about whether we should take Dad with us to buy a car or not. Yes. You go to the dealership and you know they're going to say this is the price. And my dad was a hard negotiator.
Yes.
And so it was, he's kind of a pain, but do I take him along because he's more likely to just walk away from the deal? So that's where we can help if you're looking at new homes. Is we can help you go in and negotiate for a better price. It doesn't cost you typically anything extra for our services. Builders love realtors. They've got inventory available today. I see some builders that will give you a starting interest rate below 4% today with a buy down. So we have that information and know how to help you make a great buy on a new home.
As the show is about to draw to a close, we're going to take a quick break. Be back to wrap everything up next.
What's best for you when selling your home? Full market value typically comes from listing your home so that more buyers can find it. Or you can sell to an investor for less. You can actually get either one at your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. We'll agree to sell your home guaranteed at a price agreeable to you, or we'll buy it ourselves. And if you need a quick sale, we'll get you multiple offers from investors who can close in 2 weeks or less. Explore your options today. Call us at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000. 330-3000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758, Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Well, as we wrap up the show today, I heard the Consumer Price Index news was out again this week. Wally, I want you to kind of interpret that for me. What did it tell us?
Well, it came out Tuesday morning, and there's no surprise we still have inflation. So that CPI index data on Tuesday morning that was released by the government showed a 0.4% increase in February in regard to consumer prices, consumer price index. So what happens if you take 0.4 and multiply that times 12? Well, that would indicate maybe 4.8% inflation. The truth is, if you took all those months over the last year and added them up, it tallies up 3.2%. So no surprise, right? We've still got inflation. I wouldn't be waiting for rates to come down. If you keep watching those indexes and hearing the news, I know everyone wants rates to come down, but that is not indicated at all. And the more of these numbers, and it didn't affect interest rates adversely, though. That's what the surprise was. Even with some news that it was a little hotter than expected, rates still stayed about the same, and we heard about that from Chris Doke today. So rates coming down are somewhere down the road, at least for now. I would get into the market again. I think that's our best advice if you're thinking of buying or selling. Selling season is just almost here, so get with us on the consultation, and if you're a buyer, get pre-approved and get ready.
Well, this kind of lends itself to the information you've kind of been talking about for the last 6 weeks, that, it is going to ramp up, it's going to get hot, and the number of homes are starting to fluctuate, that if you want to get into home ownership, now is the time to do it. The fruits of your labor are coming to bear. Basically, what you said is coming to fruition. People need to get into it now before it really gets crazy after spring break and getting to spring and summer, especially with all the competition of people buying homes.
Yeah, our show is for buyers and sellers. We are in real estate. We would love to earn your business. We'd consider it an honor and a privilege to help you or your family. It's always fun to do this show with you, Dave, but more than anything, our goal is to provide information here that our listeners can benefit from. And please tell your friends and family members to join our show, every weekend here live on Saturdays at noon and, at 11 a.m. It is noon right now, so we need to wrap up.
Yes.
So Saturdays at 11 and then Sundays at noon when we repeat the same show.
Hey, always, you can call the Kerrs at 330-3000. You could text them at that same number, 330-3000. Any question you had about the show today, any questions about home ownership or even selling your home in general, you can shoot them that text, and you guys can reply depending on what the question is. If you have to get a little bit of information for the person texting you, usually within a day, and that information is when, if someone texts you their address, which, guys, this is really cool, text your address to 330-3000, and on a scale of 1 to 10, what you think your home is at. If I think it's a 9 because well, it's my home, it's spectacular, and I remodeled it and spent some really good money on it. Or it's a 7, it could use a little bit of polish on it. Then within maybe 24 hours or so, you give them a decent estimate of what their home is worth. So now I have an idea of maybe what my equity is and what I could do moving ahead. And that's just a text. If they want to talk with you, they can even call you as well.
And we're available immediately after the show today. I am not going to be on Chris Doke's boat this weekend. And
I don't think he even has a boat.
And I don't know that I want to be on a boat yet. It's been warm, but not warm enough for
Yes.
Wally. I'm a water skier and love to slalom ski during the summer. That's also down the road, just like Fed rate decreases. So anyway, enjoyed the show and being on with you today, Dave. Thanks for having us on.
Don't forget, as always, go to wallytalkshouses.com. Check all the podcast networks. If you're listening Saturday, hit up the show again at noon on Sundays. If you just missed the show on Sunday, well, go to wallytalkshouses.com. Today's show will be posted by Wednesday, and you can check out all the past shows. You guys have a great weekend.
You do too, Dave.
You've been listening to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr. Heard every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and replayed on Sundays at noon here on 1520 a.m. and 95.3 FM KOKC. Wally's name is his promise. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. To speak with Wally directly about selling your home or buying, call or text him to schedule an appointment at 405-330-3000, 405-330-3000, or go to wallysguarantee.com. That's wallysguarantee.com.